texting me while I was in church. And it was interesting because the message today was about politics, and I know we're in a political season, and it was about loving your neighbor, loving your friend, and then the pastor asked us to pray for someone, and I started to pray for Tony. But it wasn't about politics. It was about football. EATLIDS. I think that's really the only thing we've disagreed on for years, Tony. I can't stand. I'm glad you can spell. I can't stand before all of you. I can't go to any Willow Grove NAACP event without thinking about Lord. Who was the president when I became the commissioner, and really mentored me, helped me in the community, and kept me accountable when necessary. There was once an issue that we were disagreeing on, and people were yelling at me in Val Call, and I said, "Are you going to yell at me?" And she said, "I don't want to yell at you. Are you going to listen if I just speak?" And I said, "No, you don't have to yell." And she spoke, and I listened, and I heard. And I know you all miss her, but I miss her as well. But Tony has done an incredible job stepping in to fill very large shoes. So can we give him a round of applause? My family's here with me tonight. My wife of 25 years. My eldest son, my firstborn, the heir to the empire, 23. My father, Ken Lawrence Sr., his wife, Charlotte, and my mother, Etta Lawrence. And I just want to acknowledge my parents because I couldn't have done anything without them. They always encouraged me from a young age to be anything that I wanted to be. And encourage that. So I want to thank you, and give you them a round of applause. So in 2017, I was blessed with the opportunity to be appointed to serve as County Commissioner in Montgomery County. And people started to say, "How does it feel to be the first Black commissioner?" And we didn't really realize that when I was appointed. So I didn't really know what to say to that. And then I started to say, well, I've been Black my whole life, so it doesn't really feel different. And what's important is not that I'm the first, but that I'm not the last. So yeah, we can applaud for that. So, I'm very proud that during my time as commissioner, we had African Americans running for local offices across Montgomery County. We have over 50 now, all across Montgomery County, and I've tried to lead and mentor there. But what I'm very proud of is during my last year, we had the opportunity to appoint the first African American woman, Jamila Winder, to be commissioner. So we talk about lifting and passing the torch. I'm glad that I was able to pass that torch, and the county is in good hands. But to become a commissioner was to give me a chance to get back to a community that had given so much to me. And at my swearing-in ceremony, I shared my gratitude for the educational and professional opportunities that were bestowed upon me as a Montgomery County citizen and all the professional success I had achieved. And as a commissioner, I quickly learned a lot of neat facts that I could humble brag about Montgomery County. We're the third largest county in the Commonwealth. We're larger than 4 states. We're the second wealthiest county in PA. We have more manufacturing jobs than any other county. And I consider myself an ambassador and a promoter for why Monco is a great place to live and work. But I want to share 3 experiences during my service that altered my view of the community and of my role. And they exposed me personally to the issues of food insecurity, homelessness, and the systemic racism that still exists, causing health and education disparities in our county. And I came to understand that my role was not just to promote the good, but to shine a spotlight on the disparities and inequities. First, I participated in the Food Stamp Challenge, which is eating on $4.75 a day, which is the daily allowance for an individual on SNAP, the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. And on the second night of that challenge, I woke up with a sharp pain in my stomach. And I thought I had appendicitis. or I thought I was having a heart attack. And then I realized that I was hungry. For the first time in my life, I was truly hungry. I found it literally impossible to eat enough calories or to eat healthy. When you're eating on $4.75 a day, and you look at an apple, it's $1. I'm not eating the apple. I ate a lot of ramen noodles, which were good for me in college, weren't as good for me as a 40-something-year-old man there. In 2019, there were over 100,000 people in Montgomery County who were food insecure, which means they made too much for SNAP benefits here in the second wealthiest county. Of those 100,000 citizens, 20,000 of them were African Americans. 20%. We're 9% of the population here in Montgomery County. But when we looked at the food insecure, 20% African American. I also volunteer for the point in time count, which is a night mandated every year in January by the federal government. The purpose is to count people sleeping in the streets, in the parks. I was in Norristown. My group was led by a man named Joel from the Salvation Army. He took us around to various areas, which I was familiar with, in the daytime. We went to a playground beneath the county trail that I ride my bike on or run on, and it had people in sleeping bags on the basketball court. We went to a bridge that I drive over frequently. And Joel called out, and a woman came from under the bridge as if we had knocked on her front door. She said, "It's not too bad tonight." It was January. She was sleeping outside on rocks under a bridge. And she said, "It's not too bad." In 2022, we had over 400 people that we counted on the streets. 47% of those individuals were African American. We're 9% of the population in Montgomery County, but 47% of the homelessness population. In February 2020, I received my first briefing from our Department of Public Health on what they then called the 2019 novel coronavirus. They explained the symptoms of the virus, how it spread, and said the areas of Montgomery County that would get hit hardest would be Norristown, Pottstown, Lansdale, and Willow Grove and Cheltenham. Now we all know that that's where a lot of black and brown people live, in those municipalities. So I asked the question, well, why does the virus affect African Americans differently from others? And they didn't understand the question. And I said, well, is there something biological or genetically that makes this virus? And I said, no, it affects everyone the same. So I said, well, then why are these areas going to be hit hardest by it? And the answer was, these are the areas that get hit hardest by everything. We knew the areas that were going to get hit hardest because they're the areas that get hit hardest by everything. In March 2020, our schools were shut down. There's 22 school districts in Montgomery County. Most of them moved to virtual school immediately or within a week. 3 school districts, Norristown, Pottstown, and Cheltenham, had to figure out how not to educate their students, but how to feed them. Because over 50% of their students were getting free breakfast and free lunch at school, and if the schools weren't closed, those kids weren't eating. We weren't working on getting tablets to them so they could start their education. We were trying to figure out how to work through the federal government so we could get food to distribute to these students. So during 2020, whether it was for testing or then through vaccination, I fought to make sure that the communities that we knew were impacted and were being hit the hardest got those services first. And even though we know this, you have to continue to say that. We have to go there first, again and again. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to serve, and I'm blessed. And I'm still proud of the positive things that county government can do to impact the quality of life through parks, trails, roads. And I'm proud of the professional and educational opportunities that existed for many, including myself, but I am keenly aware that they do not exist for all. And there's still work to be done. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it tends towards justice." There is still work to be done. I thank God for the opportunity to serve and the opportunity to work with the Willow Grove NAACP and all the NAACPs here in Montgomery County. There's 6. I'm grateful to receive this award. I was a county commissioner, but the titles I'm proudest are our son, brother, husband, father, friend, and there's one more, citizen. We're all citizens here. We can all serve and advocate and lead without a title or an office, and the most important thing we can all do right now is vote. V-O-T-E, Tony. Vote. And you've heard it before tonight, and I hope you hear it again, and I hope you hear it every day up until the election. Once you do it yourself, get your family, get your friends. We need to vote as if our lives depend on it.
Amen.
Amen.
Because they do. So thank you all for giving me this honor tonight. Thank you all for the work that you've done. Thank you for your encouragement and support during my time in office. But as Tony said, let's make sure that we uplift all of our elected officials. I can tell you that being first was lonely. You don't necessarily have people to go to, and you do feel like you have to be the voice always to do that. So that's why, your school board members, school board is the toughest job in politics. It's the toughest job in service. Let's uplift our school board members, all our local officials. We don't do it for the awards. We do it to serve, and it's nice when we can hear that from the people as well. So thank you all very much.
With that said, legislative recognition of Mr. Ken Lawrence Jr. acknowledgement from receiving the President's Award at the 2024 Willow Grove NAACP Banquet on this day, October the 20th, 2024, in Pennsylvania House of Representatives, marks the acknowledgement of the hard work that Kenneth Lawrence Jr. puts into the many ways that they make a difference in their community and beyond. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania thanks them for their efforts and wishes them the best in all future endeavors. That's by our own Representative Ben Sanchez. And the certificate of special congressional recognition presented to Ken Lawrence in the through the Willow Grove NAACP Freedom Fund Banquet, honoring the President's Award. In acknowledgement of your hard work, hard to see, and dedication, you might yeah, that's right. That's from Congresswoman. That's from Congresswoman Dean. But the thing I got to tell you last, that I don't know if I ever shared this with you. When I first started working at community college in 1991, my boss was Mr. Dennis Murphy, who spoke highly of this guy for over 20 years before we met. He said this guy was going to become somebody that contributed. Has he done it?
Yes.